It's Mohim for Boxing Domination, and today I'm joined by yet another, the hit hard, George Hillyard ahead of BKB 36, which is just days away now. George, thank you for joining me. How you doing?
Thanks for having me. Yeah, I'm doing well, mate. I'm in a better place now.
You know what? You're looking good. Uh, you know, you've got a big fight coming up now. Ionel Levitchi.
Yeah, he's tough.
How much do you know of him?
I've only watched two videos of him. They were the Sweeney fights, but he's just a tough man. And I know all these other wins have come by knockout. So as I said, I try not to. I try not to watch too much of my opponents. All I just worry about is just me turning up fit and not like I did in the last fight.
Your last fight, of course, you're coming off a loss now in Bernacle.
Yeah,
Levicchi's coming off a loss now against Sweeney.
yeah,
Ronaldo's fighting Martin Raffel. And of course, there's so many fights out there right now. Do
yeah.
you look to maybe get the winner of Rafael versus Rolando? Um, Regardless if Rolando wins or loses, would you still be up for fighting him next?
Yeah, well, of course. Because I think everyone knows that weren't me there that night, and and majority of people now know what happened on the week of that fight. So obviously losing my baby and losing the baby, and yeah, and obviously the week and on the week a 16-year-old knocking my tooth out. So yeah, it was just a mad week, and it was just a painful week, if that makes sense. And people were telling me to pull out and everything, but I was like, if I pull out, I'll never be able to work with Jim and Joe again. Do you know what I mean? And that they don't care about my baby. I just lost a baby. Yeah, it's not their promoters, so they won't care that. They don't care about that. All they care about is me turning up to fight.
And in terms of obviously the Q&A questions, which I've got for you, which some people have sent over, especially from the event that you did recently from the mental health event. Now, one of the things which I wanted to mention to you was obviously, you're sort of coming to a stage now where you need these big fights. Really, you can't be sort of
Yeah,
getting the Jack McLean fights no more. You need the fights like Rolando. You need fights like Ionel Levitchi that will challenge you and will sort of put you
yeah,
into the next stage in bare knuckle boxing.
totally.
Now speaking of that loss, right? When you look back at it, obviously there's not much you could have really changed because of the whole thing that sort of happened around it. But
Yeah,
what
but
would you do differently?
well, all I did was when everyone knows how fluent I am, how slick I am. I just stood there and I was like, because he's not a puncher, by the way.
Hmm.
The two knockovers when I won it in straight lines and he just stepped to the side and I went flying. Do you know what I mean? And the first knockdown was when he threw a shot and he hit me on my neck and it done all my nerve. It made my legs go, like my legs just, all my nervous system just go funny. So, but he knows what he was doing. Don't worry about that. He's a clever fighter, and so let's not take nothing away from him. He done what he had to do, but and then obviously, listen, what happened before the fight? You know, me not allowed to eat or drink and do another weigh-in, like it was crazy. Might once again my own fault though, but like yeah, it was just mad. It was mad, but I would love that fight next.
Great fight,
But first
Rolando
of all,
now. Sorry.
forget Ronaldo. I've got to worry about Levinci because he's a tough man. Listen, if that man hits me on the chin, because he can punch, it's good night. Do you know what I mean? It's good night, and there's no gloves on here, so where you can take it and ride it. When you get hit with bare knuckle, it don't matter how much you can punch. You're in your ass.
That's true. That is very true. And from the previous conversations, we've had from over the phone to meetups as well. One thing I've sort of always knew about you was your chin. Your chin has never really let you down, really. In all
No,
fairness, and in bare knuckle, it's still going strong. I mean, what's the secret behind it? Tell us all. Go for it.
Just no, look, just don't cut weight the wrong way. The only times I've been like knocked over or I haven't performed, and you get put over is when you get it on the chin and you've drained the weight. You've drained so much weight out of you. You know what I mean? And that's what happened in that last fight as well, as everyone knows. There's no bullshitting and lying from it. What happened? Everyone knows. But once again, that was like partly my fault. But the week up to that fight, as I said, losing the baby and obviously losing my tooth, it was just a like mad week.
And talking about the training camp for this fight, right? I mean, I'm sure you know training camp started a long time ago, but I'm sure right now your training camp has sort of come to an end, right? And what was the prep like for this fight?
It's training started a long time ago, but obviously we've been in and out of hospital. It's just been so I've had to work around it, but everything's been good. So yeah, I'm just pedaling down now, just a couple of more pounds to lose, and I'm cushy.
I know your last fight, you know, there was a lot of issues, you know, to do with the weight and stuff like that. Do you feel like this is like after the Ionel Levitchi fight? Do you maybe plan of maybe even pursuing a different weight, or is this the right weight? Do you think for you right now still?
After this fight, the God's honest truth, if I'm going to stick in it, I'm going to go down.
Okay.
Yeah, I have to. If I want to do it properly, then I'll have to. That means I can't be doing what I'm doing now, like working and then training. It'll be as soon as I've got a fight available, I am stopping work. It's just concentrating purely on training. I'm not doing it as a second, like,
yeah,
training in the evenings. I'll be training 3 times a day. I'll be training like a professional athlete, like I was when I was a professional boxer.
And speaking of your professional boxing, of course, from the British Boxing Board of Control, you went down, I believe, the Malta Boxing Commission route, the MBC route, you know, where you've won the WBU, the WBC Confederation title as well.
Yeah,
Fighting on the Sham Batra shows as well. Now
done back.
Sorry?
He's now running for London Mayor.
He is, yeah, he is. And you know
Yes.
what? I don't really like mention politics into this, but I'm sure that's probably a man you'll be rooting for this year.
Yeah, if he's gonna stick to what he says he's gonna do, then I'm all for it because it's only going to benefit everyone that lives in London.
Yeah. And let's just sort of track back a little bit because I mean, I do sort of want to go back on your professional boxing a little bit. Let's look back, right? You've 22 wins, 7 defeats, 1 draw in total. That was your record as a professional fighter. Now you look at Eddie Hearn now. Eddie Hearn and Frank Warren, they're working together now. The whole Ngannou versus Joshua is happening. But of course, I believe that's through the British board. But you can still make a comeback through other commissions. You do know that, right? George, are we going to
Yeah,
see you maybe in the influencer scene? I think that's a fight I want to see, man.
or if it come along and something got offered,
Yeah.
then I'm not going to turn it down. But professional boxing with gloves on is getting made a mockery of.
Yeah.
So, and that's why you're seeing a lot of people turning over to BKB. And in America, they're turning over to BYB. It's the fastest growing sport in the world.
Mm.
So, yeah. So the only way I'm going to put gloves back on is if it's an influencer fight and they want to fight me and I'm trying to pronounce a word with his tooth missing is terrible. Yeah, trying to, if a fight comes over and it's an influencer, then I'll be doing that. That's the only way I'll go back to glove boxing.
It's going to be easy money for you. Easy money.
Yeah, of course. Easy money. We're talking millions. That's what it's about.
Now, obviously,
and that has been offered.
That has been offered.
Yeah, it has. But
Okay.
nothing's been signed and sealed. Yeah, nothing's been signed, sealed, and delivered.
Okay, so
So
we're just waiting for the pen and paper now,
yeah,
pretty much.
yeah. So it's just with a good friend of mine called Daly. You might know him as a trainer.
Daily Parlors, yeah.
That's it. Yeah. So we've grown up together, and obviously we used to box together for St Pancras, and yeah, so we're good friends. So something as pops up.
You know what? Funny story. I started my amateur boxing in St Pancras as well, on the CJ.
CJ,
And
yeah, CJ did my pro corner.
oh, nice. And then
Yeah,
from there I went to Islington, and that's where I've sort of retired, semi-retired. I'm not
yeah,
retired yet,
yeah.
but now let's sort of go into one of the questions which one of the fans of yours that have asked. They have asked to be anonymous because they don't want the names to be on social media. They were like, okay, I'm just gonna read out from my phone. Hi George, I hope you're well. I hope the family's doing well too, and I hope the training camp is going really well. Now, my question for you is, how do you deal with mental health issues leading up to fight week, and what advice would you give?
That's a good,
He is an amateur boxer.
yeah, it's a good question. Um, the mental side of me is having the good family around me and having good people around me, and I try to not shut myself off from everyone. Where before, that's what I used to do. Just take myself away and shut myself off, and then so now I try to be more around people and keep myself social, if that makes sense. Because when you leave a boxer that's coming up to a fight on his own, his mind starts playing tricks with him. So be around someone, from my experience, be around someone that you can trust and you love, and that you can talk to.
That's a very good advice, actually. And we're going to go into the second question as well because I've got loads of them, and I feel like I'm going to have to do some of them straight after the fight as well.
Uh,
Now the next one is, hi George. I've seen you fight at your cool sometime many years ago. Um, how do you find ticket sales in boxing? Because I personally find it very hard when it comes to the unlicensed scene. How do you find it in the professional scene?
well, this is the problem I'm having now. As a professional boxer, as everyone knows, I was a massive ticket seller. So, but turning over to BKB, not a lot of people like the BKB. They don't like it. They don't realise, not being disrespectful to them, but they don't realise how brilliant the events are. But a lot of them think it's underground and thuggish.
Yeah.
So, hmm,
And now going into the third question, George.
go on, mate.
Usually, you know, when I'm at the create gym, I'll take my time. But today, we are on Zoom, and Zoom is a bit different. So, now the third question is, it's actually by a man named George as well. That's the funny part. George, when you first took on bare knuckle boxing, how did the missus react?
Well, it didn't go down too well. It didn't go down very well with anyone, if I'm totally honest. Even the people in the boxing industry didn't want me to do it. So, but the missus, she was just like, she went, I'll back you in what you want to do. She went, but don't expect me to be watching you. So she turned up, she sat there, and she had her back to me the whole way through it.
I still remember her in the last fight. She was so worried. She was
Yeah,
trying to
she was,
find
yeah,
you.
yeah, she was hysterical that fight because she knew because of the week we had, it was, and do you know what? It's nothing to me, but for her, mentally, what I did to her, mate, what a woman.
I agree.
Yeah, what a
I
woman.
do agree with that. Yeah. I've met on two occasions. I feel like the very first occasion was during fight night when I tried saying hello. It was not the smartest choice because there was a lot going through her mind that day. But yeah, so before we sort of like start closing in on the interview, I do sort of want to ask you is how many fights do you plan for this year? Because you're fighting now in January, and I believe you can at least fit in another two more before the year ends.
Yeah, I want to have another 2 to 3 more, totally. But I want to start getting it where um, I start building a fan base up now because as Jim and Joe said, they went. the people that used to support me in the pro game with gloves on, they're not going to come over to the bare knuckle. So I've now got to bring a new maybe younger generation that's to support me, if that makes sense.
Do you think, because from the phone conversations that we've had, I've always told you, I think under the BYB rules, I think you'll be an absolute killer. Do you want to maybe do BYB this year, or is BKB the only focus? Maybe the Trigon.
No. BYB, I'm going to be up for that as well. But I don't know if BYB are coming back to the UK yet.
I believe right now the way things are working is BKB fighters are going over to America. I think that's the plan as of now. Yeah.
Yeah. They're not. Yeah, sorry, it's not coming here. So I'll go to America all day long. I mean, or if they want to fight in my back garden, it's not a problem. We can do that.
We can do live pay-per-view.
Exactly that.
$14.99.
One thing about me is I don't care where we fight. And a lot of people think I'm a thug, and I'm not. Right? I just love fighting. That's what I love doing. And win, lose, draw, whatever it is, I love having the tear up, and it's best to be doing that in a safe environment than me doing it in the street.
And going over to one of the last questions is, I know in your boxing career, you were hard done by a few people, which I'm not going to sort of mention for the legal purposes. But if it wasn't for you fighting under, if it wasn't for you, if it wasn't for you losing your British board license, would have we seen you in BKB?
I think you would have. Only if I achieved what I achieved in the professional glove game.
Yeah.
But so obviously, as everyone knows, I signed a millions and millions of pound contract deal with Matchroom Sport, and the people I had around me, and CJ was one of them. CJ was there. He was trying to help me. I was very close to CJ. I'm still very close to CJ. But everyone was telling me what was going on, including my own parents. And I was getting shafted.
Would you say maybe... Sorry.
Go on. No, that's what I'm saying. So if that never happened, and then my actions after that made the British Boxing Board of Control not give me my license back. So it went from a change in my brain scan to me telling one of the main men at the board that when I see him next, I'm going to smash him in. Didn't go down too well.
Maybe,
yeah. No, so they said to me, as long as he's in charge of the board, I'm never going to have my license back. So I've passed my medical every year. And by the way, I do my medical every year. And I send it in to them.
Yeah. What, to the board?
Please believe me, I send it in every year.
That's incredible.
They can't. So, and I'm doing it to prove a point. And I spend my own money on that. I spend thousands of pounds on that.
And when it comes to NBC as well, when you sort of first went with NBC, was there a problem with the British board?
The British Boxing Board of Control never ever. When I went to BBA, it was called British and Ireland Boxing Association. So sorry, I went to Malta first after the board.
Yeah,
and then I went to BBA. But the British Boxing Board of Control, his name is Robert Smith. He said he will never give me my license back as long as he's in charge, and he's kept to his word since 2011.
Well, I believe the Motor Boxing Commission, the UK branch is, I believe, BBA. So BBA and NBC work together. So I know what I've wanted to ask you for a while is, how come your journey at BBA ended? I mean, was there just for, what, that's it, that's my career done?
No. Me, Rio, I'm still getting on brilliant with him. And once again, I pass my medicals with them as well. And I can go back to them if I wanted to. There's no problems there. I just got offered an opportunity that I said I'll never do, and then I got offered something, and I went, okay, didn't realise you was going to offer me that, but they offered me something, and then I took it. So that's it. But there's no bad feelings between me and the British Beaver,
Yeah.
and Rio that owns it. Rio's a lovely man, and then what he's doing for them is brilliant. But the British Boxing Board of Control, I don't have a problem with the British Boxing Board of Control. I have a problem with Robert Smith, and he has a problem with me, and that's the only reason I will never get my license back, and he's kept to his word.
And that's something, we'll talk about after the fight in person. We'll do it, we'll do a podcast on that.
Yeah.
And apologies for the noise earlier, that was just my mum
No.
just off the door. Now, before we sort of like wrap up the interview, I do want to sort of want to ask you, give them maybe a shout out to your sponsors, their logos will be on the screen as well.
Yeah, no. All my sponsors, I'll go from Dave Foster to Go2. Do you know what? I've got so many, I can't bloody remember them. Right? I'll get my kit out in a minute, and I'll have to get out and show you. But all my sponsors, I can't thank them enough for what they do for me. So we've got a new team here now as well. I've got Fabio back on board with the old England coach. So I've got Fab back on, and it's brilliant. So everything's going good. So yeah.
Is that with Sablio? Is that who you are talking about?
Yeah, no. Fabio is another pad man that does with, but Sab will be there as well.
Okay, brilliant, and yeah, thank you, George. We are going to catch you in 4 days' time, but I'm going to catch up with you in 3 days' time. When we meet up for the weigh-in, and wish you all the best. We'll see you very soon. Thank you so much.